hardware, which is that they literally said the CPU is the same. And at the same time, they're talking about, wanting to have 60 frames per second experiences. All of the enhancements in the Pro are geared towards GPU. So if graphics are the limit, then, obviously the Pro is going to be a champion there. However, recently, I think the last game we looked at, I mentioned it earlier, Space Marine 2, performance mode on that on PlayStation 5 doesn't get near 60 frames per second, and it won't with PlayStation 5 Pro.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. As you can see from what Richard is saying, the PS5 Pro will be CPU bottlenecked. There is no doubt about it, and it looks like even games like Space Marine 2, for all the $700 that you're paying for, will not be able to run at 60 FPS. Now, people are now already coming out and trying to use mental gymnastics in saying that he's actually wrong. But you remember all the clips that came out yesterday when he talked about the 4070, which in fact wasn't actually the graphical performance that he was talking about. Oh no, he was talking about ray tracing. In terms of graphical performance, it is still at a 6800, but the RDNA 4 ray tracing is equivalent to a 4070. So you're not actually getting the graphical performance of a 4070, you are getting the ray tracing of a 4070. I'm sorry, buddy, you know who I'm talking about, you are wrong again. But anyway, let's continue with this because he's actually said a bunch of stuff that I want to actually react to. I'm going to start the video from about the 25th minute. It's up until about the 31st. It's a 33-minute video anyway, but there's a lot being said here that is actually really important. But honestly, from where I'm standing and from what I'm looking at, GTA 6 will not hit 60 FPS. Space Marine 2 apparently is not hitting 60 FPS. Hogwarts Legacy is not hitting 60 FPS. So sure, there are going to be games that hit 60 FPS. The PS5 can do that. Why Sony didn't actually boost the CPU is crazy. I mean, that's mental. But it's basically the same CPU. And it's basically, the 3.5. It can get like a 10% boost to get it to 3.8. Which is basically the same as the Series X. So you're paying $700 to get a machine that computantly will perform the same as the Series X. But in the case of, I guess, Space Marine 2, and don't forget, it can overclock, but like the PS5 native, it can't maintain that overclock. It overheats and then downclocks, so it will use that in bursts. So even though people are coming around and saying it can do 10% extra with its boost, it's a temporary burst of speed that it will give when it needs, and then it has to go down because it overheats. So you can't really rely on that, unlike the Series X, which can maintain 3.8 gigahertz pretty much full time because it just has superior cooling. I mean, that's what you get when you get a bigger case, right? So interesting stuff. But you know what? Let's head over and see exactly what it is that Richard is actually saying, because I think it's absolutely fascinating, and I hope you find it fascinating too. Alright, so here we go. Let's react to this.
And PS4 Pro, by the way, was like $399, I seem to recall. And now we're up to like, what is it, $699.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys in Europe who are paying almost double for a PS5 Pro than they did for a PS4 Pro, which is
crazy,
which
right?
is kind of crazy. My theory on this, and again,
the PS4 Pro was £350 with a disk drive. This is £700 without a disk drive, $800 with a disk drive. I mean, I'll be honest with you, if you're planning on getting a PS5 Pro, go buy a disk drive now so it can at least reduce that $100 off your cost, and you forget about it and it's kind of done and dusted.
I'm just reminded of something that Phil Spencer said, which is that he's questioning whether subsidizing people to buy consoles is actually working, because it's the same people buying consoles gen over gen. The amount of people console gamers isn't increasing. It's the same guys buying new hardware. And
but the nibs of this world will have you believe that both Richard is wrong, Phil Spencer's wrong, analysts are wrong, but the armchair analysts on Twitter are absolutely right. I mean, that's what they'll have you believe, right? They'll believe that they are smarter than all of these people. The reality is, yes, more PS5s are selling, more Switches are selling because less Xboxes are selling. When you sell less of one, you'll sell more than the other. That's not actually having more customers. And just like I said with the PS4 to the PS4 Pro, those upgrading to the PS4 Pro, sure, it looks like you're selling more consoles, but you're not getting more players. And in this day and age, you want to grow the industry. The industry isn't growing because you sell 20 million PS5 Pros, because those 20 million PS5 Pros are basically upgrades from the PS5. It's going to be very rare that someone jumps straight into the deep end for a £700 console. That's rare. Maybe 500,000 at best from that 20 million. So, when people are saying this, listen.
If your subsidies are not increasing the size of the overall audience, why are you having subsidies? It's
a good question.
It's not great. And I think what we're seeing with the PlayStation 5 Pro is possibly an experiment from Sony in saying, well, okay, we'll continue to subsidize a bit the standard unit, but the PS5 Pro, we're going to see what happens if we just sell it at cost, or, heaven forbid, try to make some actual money on it.
Remember in my last stream, not the one that I did on Thursday, but on Tuesday, I actually said that I reckon that they're actually selling the PS5 Pro at either cost or profit. They're actually going all the way and doing a Nintendo, and that's why it's so high. Otherwise, it would have been $599.99. And had Microsoft been a little bit stronger in the, in the gaming market, it probably would have been subsidized to $599, $699 with the disk drive. But right now, I think Sony is really gambling with this and seeing if it pans out. And there's going to be consequences if it does.
And so I think this is possibly why. I mean, going into this, I suspected that it would be a $600 console and we'd get a haircut on pricing on the standard model to
exactly what I said, $600.
To kind of widen it out a bit. Instead, it looks like the standard model is staying where it is. And Sony has said that they're having problems with cost reduction.
It's going up.
And then, yes.
Yeah, they raised the price. Sorry.
Yeah, and then we've got the issues with, well, what are we going to do with the PlayStation 5 Pro then? It's got to be more expensive. $200 though, no disk drive. The no disk drive scenario, I knew it was happening. That's why I bought, you can see in the background there, I bought one of those disk drives because I knew this was going to happen. And if it didn't happen, I could just return it. Cynical, but it worked. Anyway, the point is, if you've got, here's the weird thing. If you're marketing a pro console and it has less features than the standard console that's, $200 cheaper, that's shocking. And
you heard it here, folks, right? They're marketing a console with less features than the original console at a more expensive price, and people are championing this. And when you have Richard even calling this shocking, then you have to know that the people on social media will literally buy a brick if it had the PlayStation logo on it. They just would. I mean, they bought the Portal, so what do you expect?
Let's consider the people that are going to be buying PS5 Pro. It's going to be people that are deeply invested in the PlayStation ecosystem. They bought the PlayStation 4. They probably bought the 4 Pro. They've got a lot of disc games, right? Surely, the transition to digital has gained momentum over the years. But the concept that, people who've got physical media can't actually run them on their PS5 Pro unless they spend, was it $80 or $100 in the US? It's £100 in the UK and €100 in Europe. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's, that's not great. So it's kind of like a value hit there upon a value hit again where we were expecting $600. So yes, I mean that's sort of kind of shocking. I think that's what people are taking umbrage at, and I think quite rightfully so.
I mean, when you've got Richard admitting, I mean, he knows his tech, right? Digital Foundry know their tech. They know the value of the tech. They know what it is. But even they are saying, and they pretty much work for I will say, a Persuado PlayStation funded company. But when they turn around and say that you're getting less features for a higher price and getting mugged twice, there's a problem there. It's not right. So when all the kind of industry leading outlets are saying this is wrong, why are the ponies bending over, taking it up the backside so stiffly without any lube or Vaseline and saying, please sir, give me some more? I don't get it. I don't. I genuinely don't get it. This should have been a $599 console.
Thing is though, consumer electronics are just getting more expensive to make. But obviously we're facing the question of, well, when next gen comes along, is that console going to be $700? Oh. Surely not.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
like, was it going to be $800, $900 for whatever the most powerful console ends up being down the line?
Chille, I told you, $800-900. I called it. That is what I'm expecting as well. If the PS5 Pro sells at $700, do you think the Microsofts aren't going to see this and Sony's going to see this for their next PS6 and the next Xbox Series X2, whatever it turns out to be? They're not going to look at that and say, well, if they were willing to pay $700 there, why don't we charge $800 or $849.99 for the next one? It's going to be more powerful, it's going to have better tech, and it's going to cost us more to make. So why should we subsidize it if people are willing to pay $700 now? In 2 years' time or 4 years' time, $1,000 should be perfectly okay, right? This is what I was saying 2 streams ago, and it's good to see that I was right in my way of thinking. And clearly, Destin here, the realization has just hit him. You can see from his facial expression. He's not liking that future, because at this point, when it comes to if a console is going to cost $1,000, yes, a PC costs more, but it bloody well does more and delivers more. You don't have to buy a 4090 like everyone seems to think on social media. You can get yourself a 4070 or 4080, or by then it's going to be, a 5080, whatever, and it will outperform everything on the market that's a console, and it will just do better, and you can do more. You're not just restricted to one platform, right? You can play all your Steam games as well. You can play all those PlayStation exclusives, even if they don't come day and date. They are going to land on the PC platform. So where is the proposition value once it gets to that point? Why not invest slowly, build it at your own pace over time, and build something you're happy with that will just blow everything else out the water? That's the point when it comes to building a PC. You can build it at your own pace, and they last a hell of a lot longer.
It's sort of a scary thought.
and those enthusiast users might be thinking to themselves, well, why should I pay a premium for the console? If I'm going to be paying a premium, maybe I should get a PC, because then I can upgrade at my own pace when I feel like I need an upgrade. And I can spend as much or as little as I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, the dude just said exactly what I said. Richard said exactly what I said. It's almost like our wavelengths are intertwined. But that's basically it. You can 1 month go and buy your case, CPU, motherboard, RAM, and spend like £400, right? And just get a temp and get a £100 graphics card or £200 graphics card to keep you going until you can afford to pay like £800-900 for a better graphics card. But then that graphics card is going to blow everything else out of the water. So it's just a thing. You can build your PC at your own pace. You can cut corners and get one RAM stick. And like I said, it's not as bleak and dry like these ponies are making it out to be when it's coming to build a PC. You just need to be interested in the PC, and then you can shop around and get the best prices, or wait for the sales, because they are damn good, especially on a Black Friday or January sales or summer sales or stuff like that.
Yeah, food for thought.
Who do you think should upgrade to the PlayStation 5 Pro, and who do you think should probably just wait? Obviously, people who don't want to spend the money, but like, who do you think is the target for this upgrade? Like, who would you recommend it to as a friend?
In my opinion, those that want the best experience they can possibly get for their platform. That's it. Everyone else, stay on the PS5. But if you are the type of player that wants the best performance that that's available out there, you're the type of gamer that on PC that needs the 4090 because you want the best of the best, this is for you. Otherwise, the standard PS5 is fine. I mean, to be fair, the PS5 Pro basically, the Series X has done machine learning for a long time. It's got the hardware to do it. So whatever this pisser is and how well it works, Microsoft has that already inherently built into the console. They're doing nothing different. It's basically, the only difference is that now they have a bigger GPU, and that's it. CPU is the same, the RAM's the same. It's a little bit faster now, I think, the RAM. But that's it. What is it that they're actually... fidelity-wise, they're going to push ahead a little bit. But if the game is CPU bottlenecked, and the big games that you're looking forward to, like GTA 6 will be, it ain't hitting that 60 FPS. So what are we even talking about here? What are we even celebrating here? But you know what? If you're a PlayStation fan and you want the best of the best, the Pro is definitely for you, 100%. I won't even sugarcoat that. You should get it. Because if you want the best of the best, that is the best of the best for you.
It's basically going to be those guys who've got the money to spare who want the best of the best. Now, the question is, this is kind of at odds with the concept of what a console is, which is a mainstream proposition, a games machine for the everyman.
By the way, this is at 29 minutes. I've only watched this up until the 28th minute, and I clipped the part that I wanted for the start of the video, which was roughly about 32 minutes. So I haven't seen any of this, and it's funny that he's saying what I'm saying, because it's common logic, folks. It's common sense.
Man, this isn't that. That's what the base PlayStation 5 is for. And I think if I was recommending to a friend, I'd tell them to go to Facebook Marketplace and get one for like $350 or whatever. I got an Xbox Series S from Facebook Marketplace for £65.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
So that's my recommendation there. But, the people who should buy it, are the people who could afford it, I think, primarily, as you said. And secondly, the people that, maybe they've got their 77, 85-inch OLEDs and they actually want to have the best possible experience. I think that's for them.
Any final thoughts on the PlayStation 5 Pro reveal?
Yes, I think, I've already laid out the criticisms. I've got a criticism about the hardware, which is that they literally said the CPU is the same. And
that's 3.5 gigahertz, by the way. And there is a boost that knocks it to 3.8, which is identical to that of the Series X.
At the same time, they're talking about, wanting to have 60 frames per second experiences. All of the enhancements in the Pro are geared towards GPU. So if graphics are the limit, then, obviously the Pro is going to be a champion there. However, recently, I think the last game we looked at, I mentioned it earlier, Space Marine 2, performance mode on that on PlayStation 5 doesn't get near 60 frames per second. And it won't with PlayStation 5 Pro.
Oh, no! So you're about to spend $700 on a console and it can't even do what a free £400 console can do. I'm sorry, folks, but that's gotta burn. That's gotta burn. That's gotta burn! But you know what, folks? That's a wrap. That's a wrap. I think in terms of the hardware, I think in terms of the actual PS5 Pro, what we're seeing here is a console designed for enthusiasts that want that extra performance, that extra bump, that extra graphical fidelity, and being able to get the extra 10% boost where it's needed, the burst, I should say. Because when games like The Last of Us Part 2 cannot maintain, even while using FSSR 60 FPS, because they said it targets 60 FPS, it's not locked at 60 FPS, then you know that it's not hitting that 60 FPS. More games will be revealed to not be hitting 60 FPS, but may potentially get a graphical boost or a ray trace boost. And if that's enough for you to warrant the $700, then by all means, you should absolutely go and buy the PS5 Pro, because clearly this machine is for you. You want the best possible performance from your gaming experience at this given time. And the PS5 Pro for PlayStation users will provide that for the latest games. How many of you are actually going to go back and play Hogwarts Legacy, play Spider-Man, play The Last of Us, play Ratchet & Clank now that you've finished it? I don't know. So it's a weird one that they actually showcase games that no one's going to really go back and play. I would have much rather they showed newer games, latest games, or games that actually did struggle. But my assumption is, just like, Richard said, if they showed Space Marine 2 and it was running at 40 FPS on the PS5 Pro, oh my god, what type of a presentation would that have been? And they clearly know it. So there's some foolhardery going on here. The 4070 myth is basically just referring to the RDNA for ray tracing, not to the graphical performance, which is basically a 6800. So take that as you will. If you buy one, I'm happy for you. If you don't buy one, I'm happy for you. Do what you want. It's your money. Spend it as you wish. No one says, no one should tell you how you spend your money. But at the end of the day, know what you're buying and know what it's for. If you want the best of the best, it is going to be for you as a PlayStation gamer, the PS5 Pro. That's it. But if you are happy with the PS5, then the upgrades to the PS5 Pro don't seem to be that great. That's it. At least on paper anyway. At least from what we've seen. We'll know more once, these guys get their hands on with the console and can do a side-by-side comparison and go that way. But as of right now, it's a little underwhelming, especially when you can't run current gen games that are out right now with your new shiny console at 60 FPS. What can I say? PC Master Race, you win again. Right? That's it, folks. I'm out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.